Welcome back to Archean, episode 13 of season 1 playthrough. As you might have noticed from the title, I've actually found gold and 16% gold and started a underground mining platform. Here I am, just go ahead and keep the suit crafter going here. The moon's pretty much out. As discussed in the previous video, I'm going to make a few little corrections to this code. First, related to the issue with the scanner. If the scanner is like halfway, we wanted to make sure it goes to one end and do a full cycle before we increase the distance. And the problem we have now is that if we started halfway, it'll just do half the scan, and then it will increase the distance, missing a gap, which is problematic if you're getting really close. And the other issue, I mentioned that the center of gravity is way too far back, and I want to try to move that forward a little bit. Also give myself a little room to add weight. And since I didn't like it up there, I'll move that down. Oop. So if you delete a component and you don't remove the wiring, that wiring is gone. It does not go back into your spool. So I try to... Now, not like those spools cost all that much construction-wise to make, so it's not that big of a deal. We have a lot of wiring. If you're like tearing apart the whole vessel, it's really not worth the effort to try to click on every little wire to get rid of it. Just rip everything apart and make a couple new spools and be done with it. So I'm thinking about building a little platform. I need a little more room. My little sub is not quite big enough. And then I realized maybe I should... Oh, and I don't have the X-axis symmetry on, so this side's not happening. And just be consistent, we'll add another power bridge on the other side. That way we can charge from either side. And that also makes it symmetrical for putting all the other bricks down. Alright, so now if I lay stuff out, and I decided instead of doing 2 rows, just make the whole thing in one shot. So I need a little extra because it's kind of cramped inside. So the center of gravity is going to hit the V on there, get the gravity back up. There it is, way back there. So I figure if I drop 2 more batteries on here, that'll give me more battery oomph and move that center of gravity forward a little bit. And we're really not going that fast on the water, so And not quite there. So I just go ahead and might as well fill this in with concrete and move the center of gravity a little more forward, and I'll probably need to wait. And since I've already played the video and this is a playback, I will need a lot more weight to get this sucker to sink. Yeah, I moved a little too forward, but I figure I should have probably just left it. That's good. All right, so our submarine's getting messy here. I'll cable this up. Yeah, I think submarine 2.0 would be, I think, a little different than this. What the old saying is, you don't go mining with the tools you want, you go mining with the tools you have. All right, I think we're ready to get in the seat and hit the motors and just get going. So what I figure I do is I go to the shallow area and make sure it sinks. Because the advantage of the shallow area, you get a little bit of moonlight coming through. When you get deeper, of course, you lose all that light, which is not been. I don't have a depth gauge on here. I don't know how deep I am in. There's a sensor that will provide that information, and I don't put it on the sub. That's sub 2.0 will do that, and we float. And to the viewer that told me, hey, you should make the thing out of concrete. Well, you know, probably. Because you're not going to sink without making a lot more concrete. Just feels weird building something out of concrete. Just, I don't know. I was hoping. Now, they're going to change the dynamics of submarine 2, so I'll probably take this in I think after this video I'll run a little bit, make a copy of the world, and I'll run in the new beta or experimental and see how it does in that environment. If it could, maybe the concrete's too much weight, or I don't know, they might change the dynamics of how heavy things are, so we'll see how that works out. And so I'm looking around. So here's the weird thing. You cannot build through the water line. So I want to put the base of the vessels underwater, so I can't actually put anything. So I went to drone mode, went under the water so I can throw some concrete in here. Okay, so, and it's hard to have perspective as far as the orientation because the bottom is not flat. And your character can spin around. And I mean, I assume it appears the front is sticking out, which is weird because center of gravity is a little forward. I'm going, well, now it's probably in the back. You know, see, the center of gravity is technically forward. We're leaning forward a little bit, but we're not. We're just not heavy enough to hit the bottom. So we're heavy enough to sink, but not heavy enough to flatten out on the bottom. Look at that. Pretty neat. Okay, so let's throw a bunch of crap on the front. Oh, no. I think the thing flipped. I try and get the lay on the bottom. Figure lay on the bottom, and we're heavy enough. I could put some right under that little flap, I could probably add concrete on there and still be smooth in the bottom. But I don't think of that during video time. I thought of that afterwards. Yeah, and we're if I turn off symmetry, I can duplicate that top, but we'll just do this. Oh, I think I can't duplicate it because the sensor's in the way. The speed sensor blocks me duplicating that. Okay, so let's reset it. And we're going down. We're not flattening out yet. Just put the auto level on. It sort of, yeah, it's got too much K. Yeah, we're just rolling all everywhere. Those props are not, should we say, responsive. And because it's easier to blame the props than it is to blame my coding. All right, it sort of keeps it level. I mean, if it starts going weird, I turn it on, it does kind of level it out. And it's not flipping as much now, so we're going to call this good enough. All right, so let's crank that up just a little bit. So here you notice what the advantage of those K values now, because now you can sort of tune the reaction. Now these are fixed K values, are not proportional. So proportional would be, for example, the larger the tilt, you could have like a line. So the more it tilts, the even more almost exponentially provide power, and as you get closer, then you reduce it. And the other thing is, of course, is in fact in the error rate. So you take where you want to go, and you say, okay, this is the error, and you start back, and then now you start going in the PID world. And we're not quite. We're just hoping for something good enough to get the gold, and then at some point later we'll work on sub 2, or as we kind of drag along the bottom, we might want vehicle made out of concrete and just kind of roll across the bottom type thing. Although the bottoms kind of can get really hilly, so I'm not sure how well that's going to work out either. Although I think having wheels on this sub, I'm not really sure that really helps or not, because you're kind of buoyant, you kind of float across. Now you can also put tanks, liquid tanks on here, and just drain them, and so if they're empty they have air, so you can add liquid and remove liquid to sort of adjust buoyancy. Okay, so basically this is, I get my little lights. I could crank the lights up a little higher, but I don't want to burn through all my batteries yet. Now I do have a way to anchor to the ground. Now I do have these thrusters that go up and down, and they don't seem to work underwater very well. All right, so now I'm like, while I'm scanning, I figure let's get the battery charge. Now, I'm not going to look up which channel it is in the Wikipedia, because that would be smart. And I'm just going to grab let's just grab channel 0. And guess what? It's not channel 0. And it's not channel 1 either. I think it's channel 2. So I was just doing this while I'm waiting for the scan to happen. Another thing to do, you can have multiple scanners. And so if you had 4 scanners, each doing 90-degree sweeps in their corners, that would definitely speed things up a little bit. And I got a bugaboo. Yeah, cut the dollar. Okay, and I go, that's not the percent charge. Oh, we got a hit on the So we need to go, well, we're facing the right way, basically. We just need to go 940 meters. I have no clue how far that is. Okay. So let's just go that way. And I don't have any type of compass because I need a nav console for that. And so I just sort of like, it's in that direction. And definitely not going fast. In fact, so this is going to happen now. This is going to be, I'm going to speed coming up this section up so I don't bore the heck out of it yet. So I kind of scoot in a direction for a while, trying to follow the bottom. If out and then if I can, I anchor to the bottom so we're not moving around. Then I scan again, looking for ore. Then I see, okay, it's still in that direction. It's at that distance. Then unanchor, motor that way. Now we're dropping. We're getting deeper and deeper, and unfortunately, I don't have the. I think it's a density. The density sensor will give me the depth under the water. So I'm going to spend time, scooting forward, fall to the bottom, wonder why my go down left control doesn't work the way I thought it was going to work. Now it's possible because I don't know why it doesn't work. And then I repeat this over and over and over. I go a bit, try to lock down the bottom, scan, reorientate myself, go further, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't think my ore scanner code is still 100% at this point. I think it's kind of sketchy, and I need to just sit down and review all that code again and see what's going on there. But it works well enough to find the gold. And it is amazing how small that spot of gold is, I found. And just getting in there. So here I am mucking around with the battery display just because I'm sitting here and also wondering, okay, 97% charged. All right, so I'm going to speed this up. We're just going to, until I get close to where I'm going. Okay, so we're doing the scoot and move. Probably should have made it even heavier, or that balance tank. So now we're free floating in the water because the train is just dropping. And I said I don't know how far I'm going, but it's going down. Basically got mountains, and I'm falling off a mountain right now, so I'm sort of floating here. Now at least I have the auto tilt, so I can always just level it and get it pretty much level, so I'm not falling like tail in or something like that to the bottom. I do turn the leveling off now and then because sometimes I wonder if the leveling logic is sort of floating, keeping it from going down. Okay, there's the bottom again. Okay, so yeah, so displaying the tilt is useful. I can see how make sure at least I'm reasonably orientated here. And you're mucking around, and it's like here I am hitting the side, so I turn on the anti-leveling. So here's a nice, it's like a reasonably flat area, and we keep going, we're going. Having an anchor is quite useful on the back of the sub. You see that rocking? Yeah, that's in the in pin controller language. You'll have that during initial tuning. I don't have all the parameters, but the rocking, I think the D parameter will solve the rocking problem, which I don't support. Down to 90%, and we're not really doing that much. All right, so about 300 meters away, zip, 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 zip. Yeah, having a compass would make this a bit easier. Okay, we're going to do another, we're locked in, we do another scan. Now, because I'm kind of don't really know what direction I'm going, it is possible that I will flip all the way around. And since my scan angle is, only negative 150 to 150, it's not 360. It's always possible that I rotate around incorrectly. And I think in this case, I think I go, well, did I rotate all the way around? Maybe I should just flip around a little bit and rescan. Make sure I didn't get too lost here. And having some way to accelerate the scanning would make this process. So yeah, let's go that way. Zip, zip, zip. Also probably having like maybe 10 lights on around this thing tweaked way up. That's quite a lot of power though. Oh, we get closer. Okay, zip, zip, zip. Now in this case, the gold is that anti-tilt comes in. The leveling logic comes in handy now and then. I get kind of flipped around, just level it. And so here I am sort of hitting that anchor over and over and over. I'm falling down the edge. I want to lock this thing in so I get a good, what I don't want to do is be spinning around while I'm looking for something. So here I am cranking up the distance. Okay, so it's funny, when I changed the code, it found it pretty quickly nearby, but when I previously scanned it, didn't find it. So there's something still not right in that code. Here I'm trying to lock into the ground there. Okay, so, 140. Let's head on down that way. And once again, I'm not really sure. 10 meters. Now, the minimum distance is 10 meters, so it could be right under me at this point. So it's like I'm right on the spot, just about. So I'm going to show you the next trick. So I'm going to get this thing locked to the bottom so it's not moving around. We don't need that anymore. Turn off the leveling logic because we're anchored. I'll leave the lights on for now. And as a note, when you reload a game, if your suit light's on, the suit light was off. So if you grab your good old rake tool and hit, I think it's V or the right click. I think it's right click. It tells you the percentage of the rock, and that indicates what's below it. So you saw 16%. Well, that's 15%, see? Yeah, 16%. So this is a way to really kind of nail in the area. So for example, you could just wander out into the ocean, clicking rocks over and over and over. And if you're lucky, you'll find gold. But as you see, it's in weird spots, and without a scanner, I don't know how you're going to find it. So that's about 16%. So we're going to drop a frame here. And then we're going to go ahead and put a concrete base. Now, the nice thing about being underwater, assuming you have enough silicon, is making concrete easier because concrete requires water and you're sitting in it, so it constantly refills. Made an extra drill by accident. I just want to, what I'm going to do, I'm going to expand this platform out a little bit, and then I'm going to put an anchor on it and anchor it down, put a drill on it, and have at it. Now, I should be able to also put geothermic units down here too and power it. I don't do it in this episode. I just want to get the mining going. So the original video was about 48 minutes. So the searching part was at that 5x, and so this video is now down to like 28 minutes for YouTube. I'm gonna get a little fancy with the anchor here. Now, of course, you could pick up the rocks manually with the raking tool and crush them. But we'll put the mining tool, the drill going. Looking at the anchor. And we'll put a little toggle switch here. Not sure why it bounced by putting a toggle switch on it, but I guess it could have affected the weight a little bit and made it rock. Okay, we locked it down, so we're not moving anymore. Let's get our drill placed, doing a little lip I always put on just so I can get it right to the edge, and we'll take that off. I could leave it there, doesn't really matter. 16, and now checking the drill itself. The drill's 16% gold. That's good enough. And then we're going to need a container. I'm not going to bother a crusher in this episode. And we'll just stick that there. What I'll do if I do decide putting a crusher down here, I would put a conveyor on it, and I'll leave that container in there as a buffer, and then go ahead and pull it out of there, crush it, and put it into another container. Fortunately, we had an extra battery, so we don't have to make one. Now we just need a switch. Another toggle. I decided to go ahead and put it on a junction. That way, if I want to power up the crusher in the future, I can just tap off of that. Find my toggle button, and we'll drop that about here. And Mr. Toggle there. Connect, 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 connect. And voila. And we got gold. So that's the end of this episode, but we now have underwater gold mining. Until next time, see ya.